half-truths and just not true at all, a lot of the things he says.
Erskine's farm milks about 230 cows, efficiently, he says. Canada's supply management system limits his production, but also provides a stable price.
35% tariff is now in place on some Canadian goods. And one Canadian industry that Washington has taken particular issue with is dairy.
In early August 2025, Donald Trump doubled down on his aggressive trade agenda, raising tariffs on Canadian non-USMCA imports from 25% to 35%. The move inflamed cross-border tensions. While dairy wasn't directly hit this round, Trump has long targeted Canada's supply management system, framing it as an unfair wall protecting Canadian farmers and locking out U.S. producers. With tariffs rising and negotiations stalling, the big question is whether Canada will finally keep defending its system at all costs. Canada's supply management carefully regulates domestic production and controls imports. U.S. dairy is capped at roughly 3.5% of the Canadian market. Anything beyond that triggers tariffs soaring up to 241% on milk and nearly 298.5% on butter. Designed over 60 years ago, the system shields thousands of smaller farms from being crushed by huge American operations. To Ottawa, it ensures stability and fair prices. To Washington, it's a blatant trade barrier that keeps opportunity just out of reach.
Industry falls under CUSMA regulations, but U.S. President Donald Trump has repeatedly complained, saying it's an unfair deal for his country's producers.
The U.S. already sends about $800 million in dairy products north each year, while Canada exports about $300 million south. But Trump and his allies argue America could sell far more if supply management disappeared. In fact, just before these latest tariffs, Canada's parliament passed a law forbidding any government from trading away the system in future negotiations. That decision had broad support across parties and provinces, cementing a rare national consensus. This isn't just about Quebec's dairy belt. Farmers in British Columbia, Alberta, and even the North see the program as critical for survival. Prime Minister Mark Carney has warned that loosening protections could open the market to 18% foreign dairy, collapsing the system entirely. The fallout would devastate rural economies, closing farms, erasing jobs, and hollowing out communities. That's why Ottawa treats supply management as untouchable. Meanwhile, Canada also wields leverage. The U.S. depends heavily on Canadian energy, minerals, and auto parts. These industries give Ottawa powerful bargaining chips. Trump may think tariffs alone can force concessions, but Carney's government is betting on patience, resilience, and international alliances. Walking away from a bad deal is always on the table, but the costs in the U.S. are already stacking up. In Michigan, home of the auto giants, the pain is visible. GM reported a $1 billion second-quarter profit drop. Stellantis lost $2.70 billion in the first half of 2025. Ford is expected to follow. Trump promised tariffs would restore its manufacturing. Instead, they're hiking costs and slashing margins across Detroit. The reason is simple. Since June, steel and aluminum imports carry 50% tariffs. Canada, the US's biggest aluminum supplier, now faces 35% tariffs on top. Modern auto supply chains depend on countless foreign parts, from metals to textiles to EV batteries. Even American suppliers import components, now taxed before they reach the assembly line. The result? Higher sticker prices, delayed innovation, and shrinking options for consumers. Analysts say auto alone could pile $18 billion in extra costs this year, not counting the ripple effects. Some models could rise nearly $9,000.
At some point, his view is maybe a tariff is better than a deal.
Michigan's governor has directly raised the alarm with President Donald Trump after the damage his tariffs will do to the auto sector in America's car capital.
For families, that means fewer affordable cars. For factories, it means layoffs. For Michigan, it's another uphill battle after decades of rebuilding. Trump's strategy is pressure and speed. Carney's is stability and endurance. Canada is adapting, diversifying, and investing at home. The US, meanwhile, faces ballooning costs and a shaky auto sector caught in the crossfire. Tariffs meant to punish Canada may end up backfiring. Hardest on America's own industrial base. And that's where you come in. What do you think? Are these tariffs strengthening America or hurting it from within? Drop your thoughts below, because I want to hear your take. And if you found this breakdown valuable, don't forget to hit that like button. Share your opinion in the comments, and subscribe for more deep dives into stories shaping our future.